I am currently 25 weeks and 2 days pregnant. During this time frame, between the 24th and 28th week, is typically when a pregnant woman has what's called her glucose test, to test her blood sugar to make sure that she's not diabetic. So I have been dreading this test for a very long time because I had heard a lot of things about the glucola drink that they have us drink, and glucola really doesn't really sound good. It sounds kind of nasty, but that's what it's called, glucola. I wasn't enthusiastic about taking that drink because I've heard a lot of bad things about it. Anyway, when the day finally came for me to take the glucose test, I just chugged it, and it wound up tasting like a flat orange Sunkist, which wasn't so bad. So imagine me going to my appointment thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna, take this glucose test, I'll get my checkup, hour later, I'll be back at work. That's what I assumed. But what wound up happening was I came to my appointment, but I didn't leave the hospital until a day and a half later. So in the midst of my appointment, they checked my blood pressure 4 different times, and each time my pressure was going up higher and higher. I'm thinking to myself, well, I can go back to work, and I'll just come back later and let you check it again. I was really trying not to be admitted to the hospital because I knew that was something that was coming. No matter what I said, the provider that saw me was like, no, you need to go to the emergency room. And I was just like, no, I don't. I had never been through that before. I had never been admitted to a hospital before, so I was kind of like, okay, this is something new. And even when I went down to the emergency room, I still was hoping that they just let me go. I didn't think that they would actually admit me, but they wound up doing it. So in the midst of me being admitted to the hospital, the highest that my pressure rose to was 168 over 120. Now that's stroke territory. It wasn't until that moment that I realized my mortality rate. I was thinking to myself, I could really die. And more importantly, my child could die because of this hypertension that I'm living through at the moment. And I started feeling really badly about it because I was like, well, on and off for the last 10 years, I've known that I've had issues with blood pressure. Even at some point I've been on medication. So it's not like I was unaware that I had it. It's just that when I looked at my family members, I'm looking at them like, I have relatives that have had high blood pressure, but they never like died from it. I don't know why on earth I was so comfortable being ignorant about this. And I'm just like, I just thought to myself, well, we're just strong people. We can live through anything. Man, one thing about blood pressure, it's a silent killer for real. I really had the harshest reality check I could have with this pressure issue. Once I was in a resting state in the hospital, my pressure went down as low as 132, I believe, over 78. So that was pretty low. In fact, that was the lowest it had been, but I wasn't doing anything. And so I started thinking about what if I start moving again? Is my pressure gonna rise? I was really kind of freaking out about living my day-to-day life because I know that my daily life tends to be a bit stressful. I tend to just not really deal with issues the way I should, and I was really concerned about that. However, I was discharged, and upon my discharge, I was told that my chronic hypertension, that's what they told me I had, chronic hypertension, would not go away. And I thought to myself, even in the midst of me being in the hospital when they said I could possibly have chronic hypertension, I cried and prayed and cried to God the whole time I was laying there, like just making all these promises that we all make whenever things happen to us about changing my lifestyle, even though I was very serious about it. And I'm still very serious about changing my lifestyle because I'm not only responsible for myself anymore, I'm responsible for this baby too. And so I was thinking to myself that, yeah, you're telling me that I can't get rid of this, but I'm thinking to myself, I can. Or I can at least make adjustments to where my life can be better because I'm making better decisions. So I started doing research on prenatal exercises and what foods I can eat. And of course, I've been taking the medication I was prescribed. And I just gained hope that I can get past this and actually have a good life while dealing with blood pressure issues, at least until I can get it lower. And I've also educated myself on what a healthy blood pressure is versus not so healthy, because before I didn't even know what the numbers meant. Like for instance, the normal blood pressure limit is 120 over 80, whereas the pre-hypertension limit is 140 over 90. Now that I know where I'm starting from, I can kind of understand where I'm at when I hear the numbers. Whereas before I would just ask all the time, what does that mean? I just I'm really baffled at how ignorant I just allowed myself to be. But now that I know, and I know that I'm late to the party, but I feel like it's better to be late than not arrive at all. So the adjustments I am going to make aren't in vain, because I do believe that both my unborn child and I are worth it. My pregnancy can still be normal-ish, and I'm going to strive for that. If you're enjoying following my pregnancy journey so far, check out these videos.